So far, the LG G6 has been able to retain its smartphone camera crown against the likes of Google's Pixel and Samsung's Galaxy S8 cameras. But in walks HTC's brand new U11 with a score of 90 in the vaunted DxO Mark camera test. So are the G6's days numbered? First off, I want to mention that this camera shootout series obviously has a new home on PCWorld's YouTube, but don't worry, you can check out all the past videos in the description below. I also want to mention that I've heard your feedback and have refined our testing process a bit. I'm still doing a majority of the testing in auto mode, but I'm also using a critical eye to look at usability features such as autofocus speed and RAW support. So now our 4 testing categories are color, clarity, exposure, which used to be called range, and a new one, user experience. With that out of the way, let's go over specs. The reigning champ, the LG G6, sports a 13 megapixel sensor, an f1.8 lens, and a killer stock camera app. The HTC U11 has a 12 megapixel sensor, an f1.7 lens, and dual pixel autofocus. HTC has a history of great cameras, so let's see how it performed. The first test we're going to check out is color, and I'm looking for accurate color reproduction and white balance. Right off the bat, I'll say that this is a damn close fight, with both phones producing great colors and tones even in mixed lighting conditions. But both had their own weaknesses. The G6 with mild oversaturation, and the U11 with low light white balance. Each phone is at the top of its class, but I prefer the more true-to-life quality of the HTC U11, so that's what I'm going with. The next test is clarity. Here I'm analyzing the sharpness of each image and judging how the phones decide to stay sharp across different lighting scenarios. This was another close fight, with both cameras holding up really well under intense scrutiny. In bright light scenarios, it's a wash. And yes, the G6 applies healthy amounts of sharpening to the final image, but it still retains more than the U11. As for low light, the G6 once again shines thanks to a powerful optical image stabilization system that you can really feel take hold. So the LG G6 squeaks away with the win in the clarity category. The third test is exposure, formerly known as range. This test revolves around how the cameras choose to expose for a scene, and we'll be using the histogram to help us. Basically, all the peaks on the right side represent the bright areas of the image, with the peaks on the left representing the dark areas. Ideally, you want to fall somewhere in between to maintain the most exposure information possible. So once again, the G6 and the U11 are neck and neck, both exposing shots the way that I intended. The G6 handled itself better in low light, and the U11 handled itself better in bright light, but neither does so by a wide margin. So what this test really came down to was how they used HDR. In most situations, the G6 did a better job of retaining highlights and shadows, except for one literally large instance, the sun. When shooting directly into the sun, the G6 aggressively holds highlights, resulting in a distracting white spot in the sky. The U11 loses more information in the highlights, but delivers a much more pleasing and natural image. With the sun out of direct sight, the G6 then decided not to be as aggressive, resulting in a rather boring photo. It's a small nit to pick, but with both phones being so great, I have to give the edge to the U11 in this one. The final category is a new one, and it's called user experience. Image quality only tells part of the story, so here we'll actually cover what it's like to use the phones. On paper they have plenty of the same features, including a pro mode and RAW support, but LG's stock camera app is just a beauty to use. HTC's camera can be launched by squeezing the phone, which is fun, but I found HTC's UI to be clunky. And the U11 suffers a noticeable pause for processing of RAW photos that the G6 just doesn't have. The U11 does have a bit wider field of view, but I found the G6's combo of a medium lens as well as a wide angle to be super powerful. Autofocus was fast and smooth on both cameras, so there's not really much to report there. All in all, I still love using the LG G6. So while HTC has made a camera that stands up to the best of them, it wasn't enough to top LG's. The G6 offers a great mix of out-of-the-pocket pizzazz for quick photos and pro features that let you fine-tune and get creative with your shots. Having 2 cameras at your disposal helps a lot, and the features in LG's stock camera app are the best out there. But after taking down 3 of the year's best smartphone cameras, the G6 is still standing. Which phone do you think the G6 should take on next? Let us know in the comments and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next fight. Want to know how the LG G6 came to be our smartphone camera king? Check out these past shootouts here.